What's up guys, it's Blankatron here, and welcome to the first of many videos on how to climb the ladder in TBC Arena. We did it, boys, we made it! TBC is right on the horizon. We get arenas, new battlegrounds, new raids, and best of all, no more world buffs. Thank God. I'm so excited to save so much time every single week not having to get those. Anyway, this is going to be the first of a general series of videos going over some overall concepts of TBC Arena. We're going to go over how the point system works, some map changes between TBC and retail, stuff that beginners should know when they queue up for arenas. And also, it's great for advanced players when they want to come back in. Maybe they played retail for a while and they wanted to try out TBC. There are some major differences that you should be aware of, and we'll go over all those in this video. I will say I apologize for the quality of this intro. It's my first YouTube video. Relax, it'll get better. I promise in a couple seconds the audio will get fantastic, the editing's great, so just bear with me for a little bit. But yeah, this video just designed to go over some general stuff. There will be more advanced videos in the future, but for this one, let's keep it simple and let's get into it. Now, of course, with TBC Arenas, we have access to 3 different maps. We have Nagrand Arena, Blade's Edge Arena, and Ruins of Lordaeron. By this point, almost anyone that has any experience in TBC arenas should know these maps, as they've been around since, well, TBC. But there are some minor differences between these maps as they were in TBC versus what they are now in retail. For instance, Nagrand's pillars as they are now in retail are squares, whereas back in TBC, they were actually octagons. This is huge in terms of kiting and line of sighting, and even if you aren't a druid or any other healer, every single class is going to be kiting at some point, especially on this map. So it's very important to know how to utilize these pillars in terms of kiting in the shapes that they are now in TBC. Another example is on Ruins of Lordaeron. In TBC, there's a huge space over here where it's just completely open, whereas in retail, there's a wagon or something here that you can line of sight behind that just doesn't exist back in TBC. I'd say the biggest changes come around Blade's Edge Arena. As it was in TBC, you actually don't have these access ramps that are on the side here in retail. Those are actually replaced with pillars in TBC. Utilizing these pillars is going to be essential for playing on this map. You can utilize the bottom of the pillars to line of sight and to run around, obviously, but also you can do some really cool tricks on the top, where in private servers, it seems like you can priest fear and sap from the bottom of the pillar and hit people on the top. So I'm interested to see if that's going to be a thing in classic TBC. But also you can put your back on the edge of the pillar like this, and you can also stop rogues from shadow stepping to you by doing this, because what'll happen is they'll just fall off the edge. This is just one of the mechanics that we'll go over in the advanced videos, but I just wanted to give you a little taste in this general video to give you an idea of what we're going to be going over. All of these differences are absolutely huge when it comes to kiting and line of sighting, like I said before, which is a huge part of Druid gameplay. Now, even if you aren't planning on playing a Druid yourself, you're still definitely going to need to know these maps like the back of your hand. Depending on your class, you'll still be kiting and line of sighting, or you're going to be playing against druids and other healers that want to kite and run away a lot, so it's important to know how they want to play in order to develop your counter strategy against them. And that's the first major point that I wanted to make in this series. In order to climb the ladder in TBC Arena, you need to know everything. You need to know map layouts, all of the class mechanics, not just yours. You need to know stat prioritization in terms of gemming and enchanting, and you need to know how other classes want to play against your class. Knowing what classes have what cooldowns and how they want to use them against you is just as important as knowing when to pop your cooldowns. In another video in the future, we'll talk about those things in depth, but just keep in mind that it's very important for you to have a wide variety of knowledge when going into the queues if you want to climb the ladder of TBC. Now, that brings me to the second topic I wanted to cover in this video, which is around gear. In TBC, PvP gear is an absolute must when pushing the ranks. There are certain classes that can get away with minimal PvP gear, such as a Palm Pyro Mage that just wants to go all in on one moment, But that's not too common until we get to Season 3 or Season 4, when the PvE gear starts getting insane and those all-in moments start to become really big opportunities and you can really start blowing people up. But for the first couple of seasons, it's something you probably won't need to worry about too much. The reason PvP gear is so important in TBC compared to Classic is the new stat that's introduced in TBC. Resilience. Resilience. In Classic, PvP gear was basically, if it has stamina, then it's a good piece of PvP gear. Resilience being added completely changes the gearing process in this expansion. The trade-off of gear with resilience is that these pieces will have a significantly reduced amount of plus healing or plus damage, or whatever the main stat of the gear is. So that means that finding the right balance between prioritizing defensive stats from PvP gear and offensive stats from PvE gear is going to be vitally important when you're pushing those higher ranks and people are really min-maxing those stats with gems and enchants, like I said before. I'll be releasing a video that is specifically centered around gear and prioritization, how much spell hit you need as a druid, all of that stuff that you need to push the ranks we'll be going over in depth. There are a few ways to obtain PvP gear. Your starter blue gear will come from honored reputation from all of the major factions. Different factions will reward different pieces. You'll also be getting PvP gear from running battlegrounds. I'll be making a video on the new honor system and how all that works, but there are rings, necks, trinkets, gems, bracers, boots, all of these major offset pieces that you don't get from actual arena points that you'll need to run battlegrounds in order to fill these slots. Now, to get to the juicy big boy gear, you'll need to actually gain arena points. The arena point system in TBC is simple. The higher rating you are, the more points you get. There's a flush every week where you're awarded arena points and you're able to purchase gear. There is one caveat to the point system that you need to be aware of though. In TBC, there are 3 separate arena brackets. You have 2v2, 3v3, and 5v5. The way it's set up is that the different brackets actually award different point amounts. 5v5 awards the most, 3v3 awards the second most, then 2v2 the least. The differences are definitely significant enough that you'll want to gather some friends to create a 5s team and hit a lockout every week to get the point bonus from 5v5. There are breaking points where if you have an insanely high rated 3s team and you're lower rated in your 5s team, it'll become more worth it to do 3s eventually, but I'll put a link to a calculator in the description of this video so you can kind of mess around with it before TBC releases to get an idea of how that works. Most of the time, it is going to be worth it to create a 5s team to get that lockout every week though. It's important to note that in order to gain points in any bracket, you'll need to play 10 games within that bracket that week. You can either win or lose those games, it doesn't really matter. As long as you have 10 games played in that bracket, you're good to go. Lastly, there are only 2 rating restricted items in TBC. Weapons require 1850 rating and shoulders require 2000 rating. Keep in mind that you also need the arena points required to purchase both of those items. Honestly, there are going to be so many players in Classic TBC that ratings will be inflated enough to where if you're trying and actively improving on your arena game, you should have no issue hitting 1850 or even 2000 to get those pieces of gear. Now, I will say that watching my videos and following my channel is probably a great place to start if you're looking to improve and hit those ratings earlier in the season. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. I'm extremely excited to pump out tons of videos for you all over the next 5 months around additional general knowledge stuff, as well as advanced knowledge for those of you who are pushing Gladiator or Rank 1. We'll be doing VOD reviews of Rank 1 private server matches and all of that fun stuff, so please be sure to like and subscribe if that's something that you're interested in. Also, please leave a comment on stuff that you'd like to see and topics you want to go over, as although I do have tons of ideas, I'd love to hear more from you guys. I will be pushing Rank 1, or trying to, with my teammates coming Season 1, and also the other seasons obviously, so if you want to follow on that journey, please be sure to give me a follow on Twitch, that's twitch.tv/blaketron1, and feel free to ask me any questions when you stop by. I'll be happy to answer anything and talk about any subjects. Just feel free to pop in whenever you'd like. Alright, well that's going to be it. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and until next time guys, peace.